Okay, thanks for buying the gig. I do enjoy doing this, and hopefully that shows with all the information that I give you. I have 8 pages of things to go through, so these videos are, well, I guess you could just look at the end time, but these are generally really long videos. And I, for the most part, do them straight through. So let's go ahead and get started. First, let's just cover some general stuff up top. The first bullet point is be patient. So anytime you make changes, anytime you're trying to do things differently, it usually takes Google weeks, if not months, to pick those things up. So the bottom line is if you try something, and SEO is all about trying something new and seeing what works and what doesn't work, and then things are going to change and staying on top of it. But if you make a change and nothing happens after a few weeks, you just need to stick with it. You don't want to jump from technique to technique to technique. Nobody knows, right? We don't know the actual Google algorithm. We just know based on experience. We just know based on research people have done. People try to reverse engineer the algorithm. So nobody knows the, exact reason, exact ranking signals. Now we do know, they've told us over time certain things that are ranking signals, but we don't know what, how important each one of them are. And don't get overwhelmed. There's a lot of stuff here, and there's no way you're going to be able to do it all. I mean, to do all this, it would take months and months and months, and you probably need a staff of 2 or 3 SEO people. Just do what makes sense to you. If you need help with anything, I can help out on some things. But if you have any questions in general, you can always message me, and I can point you in the right direction. And steady and consistent wins. Google tends to like, for blog posts, seems to like, and it goes back to nobody knows, but it seems like it likes consistency. It doesn't seem to like posts that are posting 3 posts in a day, then you don't do anything for 2 months, and you do 3 posts, right? If you're going to do 1 post a week, do it about once a week. If you're doing once a month, try to do it about once a week, once a month. If you have some content built up, then just schedule those out. Okay, I asked you some questions in the beginning, and the reason I asked that is I just want to get an idea of your understanding of SEO. One of the questions was, what are backlinks? And you did not know what that is. And that's totally fine. Most people don't. So what a backlink is, it's a link into your website. Like, let's say somebody wrote about your law firm on CNN.com, and CNN linked to your website. Excuse me. That's a signal to Google, because CNN's a very respectable website. Well, CNN, Fox News, whatever. I'm not trying to get political, but just a highly authoritative website. So, any type of well-respected attorney website, Bloomberg, all those kind of websites. So if you get a backlink from a link into your website from there, that's a signal to Google that your website's really good. So the more of those you can get, the better, right? So that's kind of what a backlink is. It's a signal to Google that your website's legitimate. A sitemap essentially is just a map of all of the web pages on your website, and you have one. At least I think you had one. It takes me a long time to do all this stuff, so I was doing it for 2 days, so I kind of forget some of the things I go over. Yeah, you can see here. So this is just posts. So these are all the posts on your website. So this is just a map for the Google Spider to see what's on your website. Anytime you post something, it automatically updates that sitemap. So that's all that is. You don't really have to do anything with it. I just wanted to see if you knew what it is. I'll just upsell one thing here. I also do performance and security audits. Most websites have horrible security practices, and that's something that I do. So if you want to help with that, let me know. And your website performance, we're going to get into it, but if you need help with the performance, let me know. I think if I remember correctly, there's one thing I think that you can work on, but overall, performance is pretty good. I made this video on my YouTube channel. Let me pause it. Let me just so you can see the title here. 1 second. Here, lockouts. There's the number of lockouts. So if this basically just goes over how to install and configure the iTheme Security Pro firewall. Like, this is more than a firewall, security plugin. Security is a lot more than just installing a plugin, but if you're looking for tutorial, and I have an agency license for this security plugin, so if you want it, let me know, and I can give it to you for free, right? So it's something. So that's that. If you just want to do it on your own, this part of the security piece of it, this is a good guide for you. Moving along, and then content. So there's content is very important. Let me pause this real quick. Okay, so content's extremely important because it helps get traffic to your website. And the more traffic you get to your website, the higher you're going to start to appear in the rankings for when people are searching for lawyer on all of the different areas that you cover. And why that is, it's Google's going to see, or if somebody's using Chrome browser, it's going to give. It makes sense. It's going to be reported back to Google that, and if you have Google Analytics on your configured on your website, all that stuff, it's a signal to Google that your website has value because people are actually going to it to learn stuff. And as you have all that content built around this areas, all the practice areas that you guys, is that the right word? Let me see. Practice. I guess practice areas is the right word. And you got a problem with this menu here, which we'll get into, like employee benefits, so all this stuff. So if you have a lot of content built around that, you're building what's called topical authority, right? And of course you want to, like, anytime you have a blog post on employment benefits, you want to link back to your employee benefits, this landing page right here. And we're going to get into all that. So content is king, right? It's going to get traffic to your website because people are going to ask all kinds of questions. And if you have a tutorial or something, you answer something. And basically the more traffic you get is going to result in more traffic, which is going to result in more traffic, which is going to result in more traffic. I have a whole process I created called Qualify and Conquer. You can go here. It's a 33-minute video. It basically talks about, why is everything so slow?
So it is answered. And that's fine. What we're trying, if you find a topic that
So my free detailed process for creating SEO content that you can actually rank for, right? Because a lot of people just write content to write content. You want to create content that you've qualified as something you have a decent chance of ranking for, and it's actually content people are searching on. So watch that video. I'm not going to include it here because I don't want to waste too much of your time if you don't want to get into too much detail. But content is extremely important. We're told over and over again it's one of the most important ranking factors. That's something I would work on. Pages with schema implemented show a much higher click-through rate. So what schema is, it's a little bit of code, or you can do it through a plugin that tells the search engine what this website is. So it's saying this is let me see if it has it here. This website is for a local business. This is a local business that is a legal service, right? So this is stuff you want to configure, and this is the little code that you do it from. And it's also going to give you a higher chance, I don't even know what I'm typing here, of showing up over here on the right side, your business name, because it's really giving context to Google as to what you are. And it's where you put your address, your city. You can also put in your services. It's a different type of schema type, but that's something you definitely want to do. It's really important. So you can read through this article. Yeah, put your logo, et cetera, et cetera. So this is all kind of stuff that you definitely want to do. And like the rating, so like when you search for something and those little stars come up underneath the search result rating. If you had ratings, that would do that. So you could like rate your lawyers, whatever. So website performance. So your website performs pretty good if I recall correctly. It does load pretty quick. Let's do this. Incognito. Let's just count. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. See, it is loading. It loads real quick initially, but it still spins a little bit longer than I would like. It loaded quick because it was cached that time. So, and if you need more help with this, let me know. So, Core Web Vitals, you have one red, and I can get into that in more detail if you want. But if you look at the waterfall chart, so these are all the things that are loading on your web page. So this piece of CSS took 0.15 seconds to load, right? This JavaScript took a half a second to load. These short little lines are really good. These images took a little longer to load. Let's see how big it is. 10K, so that's not big. That's not really that bad. The problem you have is you're loading this video that is 7 megs. The average website is only 3 megs. This video in itself is 7 megs. So if it's something, let me play it here. I looked at this yesterday. Like I said, I just can't remember. It's a 6-second video and it's 7 megs. So it's not optimized. It's probably way too big, like, the dimensions of it or something. I don't know what's going on. So this is something you want to either get rid of or maybe go down to, like, I don't know. It just needs to be optimized. I don't like videos on websites because performance is a ranking signal. And if Google thinks that your website is slow because you're getting red on this metric here, then it's gonna rank you lower in the search results. Now it's just one signal, right? It's not the end all be all. So okay, so another 2 things I would definitely recommend is You want to do user Bob testings once a month. So what user Bob is, you can do 20 tests for $20. So $20 total. And what it is they have people that will review your website and talk out loud, right? And so you can see them using your website. And for a minute, you're going to hear them talk out loud about what they like and what they don't like about your website. You're going to get all kinds of valuable feedback for doing this. I like to do it once per month because if you don't do it, you don't know what people think about about your website, which is inevitably the better tuned your website is to actual people visiting your website, the higher you're going to start ranking because the more time people spend on it, the higher, Google's going to think your website's really good. So you can do 5-minute sessions if you want, but this is something I do once a month. What you're also going to start to notice is places that your web page is broken, you didn't know it, because how often do we go to our own websites? Yeah, and it might be because they're just using a different browser that you didn't test on, right? So you're going to start to see that. Inspectlet is another tool. You can get, I think, 50 free sessions per day, and you put this little piece of JavaScript on your website, and it actually records people using your website. So you can see how people are navigating around, and again, you're going to start to see stuff that is broken, right? So this is very important. So I watch about 15 to 20 sessions per week of Inspectlet for all the websites that I work with. And then, like I said, I do user Bob sessions once a month. I do 20 of them. And I see broken stuff all the time, right? And if you didn't know, if something's broken and you don't know it, and somebody goes to that page, maybe it's a broken link, and they click the back button and they get off your website, that makes sense. That's a signal to Google that they don't like your website. And you're going to start going lower in the search rankings. Okay, so Screaming Frog. Whoops, it's not open. I'm just going to show you how I start the scan, just so you can get an idea. Then I'm going to pause it while the scan happens. This is basically just a site spider. It finds all kinds of stuff about your site. The page titles, so the page titles are the thing that show up in the Google search result. The meta descriptions, which are the descriptions underneath the page titles. It finds broken links. It finds redirects, all this stuff. So let me just show you. So you get they have a free version of this. I think you can scan 1,000 URLs. I think, I'm not sure. I have a paid version. It costs like $100 per year, and it's a must-have if you're doing SEO stuff. I don't know if you're going to have somebody full-time doing SEO or what. So all you do is put the URL and you do start, and you can see. And I'm exporting all this into spreadsheets so you can see it without having to have Screaming Frog, and I'll include that in the delivery. So you can see here, these are just all the pages and cascading style sheets and everything on your website. You can go to here and you could just do all the HTML pages, and that's what you want, right? But we're not going to pay attention to that. What we're going to look at, the main things are response code. So how many redirects do you have? So these are a bunch of redirects. So if somebody clicks on a URL, they redirect to another URL. You shouldn't have those. All links should go directly to where the final destination URL is. It's not as big for external websites, but you want to fix this on any internals you might have. So this Morgan Stanley, and you can go here and find out where it's at. You want to fix that. These aren't a huge deal. It just slows the website loading time down a little bit. But one problem you have is you have you have broken links. I don't think you have any server errors. Let me see. Okay. So these broken links. So if somebody clicks on this link from this page down here, it's still going. That's why they're not all there. See, it's still going here. So you're going to have a lot more pop up. I think you had like 2 pages worth. And like I said, I'm going to send you this in spreadsheets. So you just want to make sure you go find all these broken links and fix them. It makes sense that Google's not going to present a website that has a bunch of broken links on their website. And keep in mind, when Google's determining what to rank, it doesn't just determine it based on that one piece of content. It's going to look at your entire site. What's the quality of your entire site? Right? Do you have a lot of adult content on there, or drug paraphernalia or something, which you don't. But hypothetically, if you did, like if you had some weird stuff on there you didn't know about, it's not going to present your result for legitimate legal stuff, right? Same thing goes for broken links and pages that just don't get any traffic, etc., etc. So these are your titles. Your titles are okay, but there's a lot of them. Like, let me see. Employee benefits. What does that mean? Employee benefits what? So let's see what that one says. Employee benefits, ERISA, Employee Benefits Income Security Act. So I would change this title to, I'd have to read through this, but what is the Employee Retirement Income Security Act? You want to use as many keywords as possible for the title that makes sense. if Google gives you .60 characters, whoops, you want to make sure you use as close to 60 characters as possible. I think you might be, like, you're filling this with lawyers in Washington, D.C. Well, that's not that. Let me, where's the font so small I can't see it right here. I get what you're doing by putting the Washington, D.C. employment attorney in the in the title, and I think that's good. Let me see if it, title length is 53. I think you get up to 65 characters now, but I would prefer to see what this actually means, because especially if somebody's searching in Google and your result comes up and it just says employee benefits, what does that mean? Right? So I would go through each one of these, and there's no easy way to do it. You just got to go through each one of these. And this is where I say don't get overwhelmed. So you have 240 results. Just knock out 3 a day. Most of these are going to be okay. I shouldn't say most. Some of these are going to be okay. Employee discrimination law in West DC, so that's good. Cleveland Lawrence. So these, there's 4 or 5 here you don't need to do anything with. So just blow right through them. But I definitely cut a lot that you need to work on. Same thing with meta descriptions. Make sure that you're using the appropriate keywords in here. And I'm going to show you, actually in that Create and Conquer video, I showed you how to find relevant keywords to use. Right? And if you want me to go more detail about that, I can, but it's nothing specific to your site. It's just it's a basic general SEO tactic. And the other big thing here is images. So you don't want to have any large images because it slows down the page loading time, right? So usually you want to get images under 300K. Generally, you can get them a lot lower. And most of yours are really good. You have this one that's 157K you might want to look at. Not that big of a deal. This 300K one, I would look at and optimize it. And if you want me to show you how I optimize it, let me know. It's really simple. But the big problem is here, and you can see it's on this page here. Looks like it's a blog post. Latest news, MS fights for fairness in school, Hollywood, something. And you can see here, because it's an animated GIF. So when it comes down to performance, it's always performance versus nice to have. Is it really necessary to have this large video in the content piece? I wouldn't do it. I would just maybe have the screenshot of inclusion writer. I think that would be good enough. But it's always a balance, right? Do you want to have big videos like this slowing the web, the load time? Sorry, lost my train of thought. The load time of that web page. I wouldn't do it. I get why people do it, but I don't do it, right? So I want to give my websites and web pages as high a chance to possible to rank in the Google search results. Right? So I wouldn't have any type of video like that. It's just unnecessary, in my opinion. So it's 4.6 megs, which is huge. So you could get that. You could probably get that down to like 80K or something. Especially if you started using WebP, which is a newer version, which is a lot better than JPEG. Right? And you definitely don't want to use PNG for anything unless it's like a transparent PNG. Let me see what this one is. Yeah, so this one you might want to, right? Because it looks like it's transparent. But all those are really small sizes, so that's not much to worry about. Okay, and it's something you just got to do. You know, like once a month you need to run this scan and just see what pops up. It's not, you can't really just set it and forget it. That large images. And then with the images, you want to make them SEO friendly, meaning you want to use the keywords in the image titles. You want to use the keywords in the alt image text, right? All this is important. All this links together to help Google understand what the image is and how that image relates to the content on the page. And then site structure. So, for example, practice areas. Well, let's go to, you have where's the resources at? News, Find Justice blog. Site structure is very important. So, whistleblowing, a valuable tool to fight against COVID-19. So, you don't have, okay, this is good. External links are good, especially to legitimate websites, which this is. This goes to CNN.com, which is a legitimate website. This goes to whistleblower.gov, which is a legitimate website. What you're lacking is internal links. So anytime you mention whistleblower, John Hopkins University Science, blah, 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 the whistleblower rights team, right here, looks like you linked to it here. Let me click here. I didn't notice this. This might be a problem. Let me just see something real quick. Interesting. You have 2 domains. fight fraud. Let me make a note of this before I forget, because this is a big problem. I didn't catch this. I'm glad I caught this. Because the problem here is these two domains are competing with each other for the same traffic. So you see findjustice.com, and this is fightfraudjustice.com. Let me click here and see if it looks the exact same. Let me click here, see if it looks the exact same. Are you ready to join the fight? 6 boxes. Okay, this might be, you said you're working on a new website design, so that might be it. If that's the case, just make sure you're no indexing the new one until it's ready. So I bet that's probably what it is. But going back to my point, anytime you're talking about something related to a service that you offer or to a practice area, you want to make sure you link to your practice area page for this whistleblowing topic. I would also create a little blurb in here that mentions your service, right? Like a little, your own internal advertisement. Anytime you mention a topic that you're covering in another blog piece, you want to make sure you link to that other blog piece. This is helpful for humans, but it's also helping Google understand what's what. So for example, if somebody searches for like whistleblower law and you have whistleblower law in a lot of blog posts, what Google's going to see if anytime you mention whistleblower or whistleblower law, it links back. Now it doesn't always make sense. This probably wouldn't make much sense here, but you'd want to mention whistleblower, law services here a few times. Anytime you mention that and it links to this whistleblower practice area page, then Google's going to know, okay, when somebody searches for that keyword, this is where I need to send them, not to the blog page. So that's really, really important, and you're not doing that. So that's something I would focus on. Okay, the other thing is you go here in Screaming Frog, and if you don't want to buy Screaming Frog, I can just give me your API keys. I can do this for you, and then I'll delete it, of course. You can go here and put in your Google Analytics and Google Search Console, PageSpeed Insights, API. I have a video on this, how to use, if you want to check the performance of all your web pages, you put in your Google PageSpeed Insights API key, and you come here, and if you scroll all the way to the right, it's going to show you like a ranking of how slow your website is. That way you don't have to go test them one by one manually at web page test. But back to what was I talking about? Oh, so what you want to come here with Google Analytics, you can see traffic. If you have a lot of pages that aren't getting traffic, you want to purge those pages, or you want to combine those into other pages that are getting traffic. Because like I said, it goes back to Google's checking the quality of your entire site to determine if it should rank you for the results somebody's querying on. So if you have a lot of traffic that's real thin, like 2 paragraphs that nobody's going to, you just want to go ahead and purge that. I've seen websites drastically increase their traffic from the SERP, or the search engine result page, by just purging old content that's getting any traffic. So you need to, again, go in here, go to API Access, and hook in your Google Analytics API key. Okay, let me see how many pages we got here. I'm trying to make these videos shorter because sometimes they go like 3 hours, and I know people don't want to watch a 3-hour video, but again, I feel bad I want to give as much content as possible, so that's why I'm linking to some of these external videos that I've made and other people have made. So if you want to get more information on that specific topic, you can just click on it. Because most of my videos on YouTube, some of the videos I'm linking to that I've made on YouTube are like 30 minutes long, so it's just going to take a long. I'm sure you don't want to sit through, like a 3 or 4 hour video. So social media. So at a minimum, social media seems to be a ranking signal. Like if you just use it. Because it makes sense. Google, that's going to tell Google. See, Google doesn't just look at your website to determine if it's good or not. That's a bad word, good, but because that's kind of subjective, but good or not to rank for. Something it should rank. It also looks all around the web. It's going to look at your reviews on Yelp, which we'll get into, all these reviews on the web that is hurting you. It's going to look, it makes sense, I should say, that it might look at your social media, right? And if you're active on social media, it's going to go, okay, this company's on top of things, so we're going to rank them high because they actually are into their business and they're active. So this, actually, I'm going to get to it right here. I search for your business name. Let me move this over here. Mary and it never can spell it right, and Scarlett. There's some big problems here. If you, first of all, you want to work on your reviews, which you have one review here, which most of your competitors that I looked have dozens or hundreds of reviews. So this is something you need to work on. But the problem, and I have a whole video on that, right? And I'll link it below. The problem is, look at this, a 1-star review on Yelp. A 4-star, which 4 isn't bad, but you'd like to get it to at least 4.3 on Glassdoor. Sometimes there's nothing you can do on Glassdoor. MapQuest, 1-star review. This is really not only hurting you from an SEO perspective, this is really hurting. Like if I was looking to do business with you guys, and first thing I would do is search your law firm, and I would look through the first 3 pages of Google search results. I think that's probably what most people do. And if they see 1-star here, they're not going to click. They're probably not. They're more prone, I should say, to click here than here, because our brains are attractive. We're kind of wired to look at things that just stick out. These are just like search result, search result. Oh, 1-star. Let me go see what that is. So if you click on it, you want to go look at the review, and at a minimum, you're not going to be able to get them to change the review, but at a minimum, you need to come here and find the review, and you need to respond to them, right? So that people, because right now it looks like you just don't care. So I would not do business with you guys if I came here. First of all, if I saw a 1-star review, but then secondly, if I saw you guys didn't respond to it, which you haven't, that would be a big problem for me. So TikTok, what a lot of lawyers are doing on TikTok, they're going and making these cute little 30-second videos explaining legal techniques and all this stuff. It's something to definitely consider. That's not going to get you a lot of traffic, but it's going to help with brand recognition, and that's just more of a marketing thing. But all of this digital marketing, SEO, so digital marketing, SEO, I should say, performance and security, they all tie together. It's like a package. If you do 3 but not the 4th, then you're really not doing yourself justice, right? So some of this stuff isn't directly SEO, but it all does help. I don't think I made this video. Let me see what this is.
In this video, I'm going to share with you a step-by-step tutorial for how to upload videos on YouTube. Okay. So by the end of it, you can do it.
Video, whoops, I didn't label it properly, did I? Okay, yeah. YouTube videos are really good. It's going to help you get traffic. It's going to help with brand exposure. And all you need to do, you kind of use the same techniques I go over in Create, Qualify, and Conquer, but you just need to search for your service areas, practice areas. What videos are there out on those service areas? And if you can make them a little more niche, make those videos. And we can get into this in a lot more detail, but it's brand exposure. It's going to get you traffic. But you just need to, whenever you're trying to rank for something, what you want to do is see what's already working and kind of mimic that and do it better, which is subjective, but also if you can make it more niche. So like if I had a pet food blog and I was writing like, is premium pet food healthy? Right? That's pretty, or worth the extra cost. That's good, but you know what would be easier to rank for would be, is premium cat food worth the cost? Right? So there's a lot of people don't really know how to upload YouTube videos. It sounds easy, but most people are missing out on doing all the options. So that's a guy that I follow. He's really good. It explains how to do that. Use your keywords and go back to that video I mentioned above for an appropriate hashtags in your post. Use a maximum of 5 hashtags. I would never use more than 5. I normally would not use more than 2 to 3. But you'll start getting put in the spam filter, and you don't want to do that. Evergreen content. That means you can just reuse the same content over and over again, right? Not every week, but once every 6 months you can repeat the same content. If there's something happening in the news, I can't think of it. Like in your website you have the Rooney Rule. That's a big thing right now. That's something you'd want to post to Twitter or show on social media, with whatever hashtags trending related to that story. Like maybe it's hashtag Rooney Rule. I have that strategy. It's called my lay-in wait strategy. Because I have a lot of posts on like Halloween, 4th of July, things that are like time specific. Like let me just show you this. Let me show you this. And this isn't going to totally apply to you, right? Because you're not like you're a legal firm. But there's all these holidays that always trend on Twitter. If you have content that you can make around these different holidays, whoops. Okay, this is actually, okay, here we go. Clean off your desk day. I mean, so you probably can't do some of that, but the point is there's all kinds of stuff. And if you have data privacy, you probably could do something related, like loosely related to data privacy. If you share it with that hashtag, you're going to get some traffic. If you also go comment your content piece on the top people that are reacting, that have a lot of comments on it with your content piece, and you can kind of do it like, like casual, like it's not your content, then you're going to start to get traffic on it, right? So if you want more information on this, let me know and I can go over all this as well. What are your competitors doing, right? You want to go look at their social media. What are they doing? What are they doing on LinkedIn? What are they doing on Twitter? I notice a lot of your social media, you just quit posting to it. And that's not good. You definitely need to continue posting to it because, like I said, at a minimum, it's a signal. Let me pause it real quick. Okay, and there's a really cool tool called Hootsuite. What it is, it's basically, there's a paid version, but the free version, you can just put your company name in. And anytime somebody mentions your company name or your website, it's going to alert you on Twitter specifically. I don't think it does Facebook, but at a minimum on Twitter. So you just want to let that sit there. And if something happens, if somebody's talking negative about your company, then you need to be aware of that so you can go address it immediately. Okay, Ahrefs is a really cool tool. It's a paid tool. It's expensive, but it's something you want to consider using. At a minimum, just use it. Get the free version for 1 month. And dump a lot of this data I'm going to show you. Whoops. Supreme SEO. So I do a group by thing. If you want information on this, let me know, right? So what you want to do, make sure I go in order here. This is probably the best tool for really seeing what's going on your website, and that's the wrong one. Close that. And your competitors' websites. You can't get any of this information unless you're using a tool like this. For competitors. For you can, but you'd have to go into Google Analytics and sort everything and do a lot of exclusions and blah, blah, and it's really annoying. So what you want to do is let's look at your top pages. But you can go to your backlinks here, see where you're getting backlinks from. Again, I can go over this in a lot more detail if you'd like, but I don't want to waste a lot of your time. So these are your top performing pages for the last 6 months. Judge Clement, your homepage, that's interesting. Usually the homepage is always the top. Judge Clement is actually the top result, which is interesting. So what you want to do is you want to find pages like Resurrection on healthcare, right? So if you're getting a lot of traffic on this, you want to just make sure it's totally optimized and find ways you can link to your service pages. Also, you want to find ones down here that you're not ranking that good for. And if you want to get those moved up, you want to create links to those from your higher ranking pages. So that's building that authority up. That's going to get people starting to click on links and going to those other pages. You can go to keywords that are being used. You can get this from Google Search Console as well. Let me make sure I'm going in order. Yeah, so Clement, or Clemon, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, is a very popular search, so that's good. Marion, that's obvious. Trinity Health Share, that's interesting. So it goes to this page. Let's see what happens here. Let me get a sip of water real quick. Okay, so this is all good, right? It's good information. And you can do all kinds of stuff, which I can get into if you want. Now, where it really gets powerful take a competitor's website, plug it in. So what you want to do is you want to search for all of your service areas and look at the top results, your top competitors. Now I like to do it not just for your top competitors, I also like to look at the top results in Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York. Those are the 3 cities where it makes sense that those people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars per year on SEO and marketing. So what you want to do is see what they're doing and what's working for them. What are they doing that you're not doing? And then you need to focus on those things. So what keywords are Outen and Golden ranking for that you're not? Glass ceiling example. So you'd want to go look at this content piece. Okay. I'm not sure what this is. Oh, glass ceiling. Like, okay, is there a glass ceiling at work? I get it. I was thinking like literally glass ceiling. So do you have I don't think you have a landing page for this. Let's go have a look. Now, if you ever want to search your own site, I guess you could do here. Let me just show you another trick though. Site : website glass ceiling. This is better because it's going to show you not only what's on your site, but if it's indexed in Google. Because things might show up here on your website because they're there, but here. But what if it's not indexed on Google? Then that's a problem. So this is a perfect example. You don't have anything on glass ceiling, so that's something you want to write on. Temporary restraining order. So you just need to look through all these. Wayne Houghton, blah blah blah, Catherine Pearl. Blah, blah. So you just need to go with all of your competitors and do this one by one, and just put these keywords in a spreadsheet. What I also like doing is looking at their top pages. This is their home page. Look at this. This glass ceiling is ranking really high. So this is something you definitely would want to get on. Negotiating and drafting settlement agreements. So this is probably a how-to article on how to negotiate settlements, like more of a mediator type of thing. And this is the keyword people are using. Okay, it's a PDF. So I would consider PDFs are really good. They're called link bait. And of course, you put them behind like an email sign-up form, something like that, so it's something to consider. However, I would just make this a blog post or in your reference section. Now, you'd have to obviously go and rewrite it, but you could pay somebody on Fiverr, say, this is my content piece. I want you to rewrite it so it's changed up a little bit, a little bit out of order, whatever. And that's something I would do. So hopefully you get the idea. And again, if you need any more information on more specific information on this, let me know. Let me see if there's anything else. Temporary restraining orders. I know you have LGBTQ discrimination, but without going back and forth, I don't remember which ones you have and which you don't have. So that's that. And there's all kinds of stuff you can do. Oh, Content Explorer. I'm not going to get too much into it, but you can use their Content Explorer to get content ideas. But that goes back up to my Qualify and Conquer process above. Find keywords, low-hanging fruit, and checking keywords. Basically, if there's keywords that you're not ranking 1 through 10 for, but 10 through 24, 11 through 24, those are ones you want to start writing content pieces on. Those are ones you want to start improving those content related to those keywords on, because those are ones you're actually ranking for and you're trying to move up the ladder, create better links, etc., etc. Yep, so that's that. Went over that. A content gap analysis, basically what this means, and you can do this in the tool, you basically put in like your 5 top competitors, or 10. I think the maximum is 5. I don't even know. I generally do more than 3. And it's going to go search, and it's going to look for topics and keywords your competitors are writing on, but you're not. And those are topics you want to focus on. And I mentioned this above. Include internal links to your highest performing pages and ones you are trying to move up in the rankings. So backlinks, like I said, are links into your website that gives your website legitimacy. These are important. They're very hard to get. You can pay people to backlink build for you, but a lot of times they're getting you links from very spammy methods. It's not something I would do. My motto is the best way to get a backlink is to write content that people want to share. It's very difficult, but here's some ways to get backlinks if you want to go read through them. Find backlinks. I'm trying to remember what I wrote here. Find backlinks to content that you have. Find backlinks to content that you have content for. Oh, okay. So if you have, so let's say you have an article on, discrimination in the meatpacking industry. But that's pretty ridiculous, but I couldn't think of anything else. You could go find other people that have that article, that have written that blog post, go into Ahrefs, plug in that URL, and find out where those backlinks are coming from. And reach out to those site owners and try to get a link to your blog post. And you normally want to link to, it's going to be hard to get links to your service pages, right? Because that's just advertising. The best way to get links is to write really good content, and then you just go where they go. Where are your clients hanging out at? Is it Facebook groups? Is it Quora? Is it Reddit? I'm sure there's a bunch of industry message forums. That's where you want to plug your content, because in your content is where so it doesn't look like you're spamming if you're plugging content. If you plug your service pages, you're spamming. If you plug your content, then upsell your services in those content pieces, then it doesn't seem like you're spamming. Reach out to sites that have shared your content in the past and check for backlinks on the pages. So just reach out to the websites, and you can get that in Ahrefs. Just go to backlinks. You can see what websites have actually linked to your content. Reach out to them. Say, I have this new content piece. Would you be interested in linking to it? It's not that hard. It's not as successful as you might think it is. We get, as website owners, we get dozens of these messages a day. A lot of times they're spammy. So if you send a message like this out, you want it to be very personal and not spammy. Unlinked brand mentions is another way. So, Mary and Scarlett. Sorry, I always keep forgetting. Mary. So what you want to do, you want to go on the web, find out where your company is being mentioned, but there's no link to that mention. So you would reach out to the website owner, thank you for mentioning my firm. Would you mind adding a link to that mention of our firm? Doesn't always work, but it's something. It's just another thing that's going to have all these things add up, all these things help. Okay, local backlinks and backlinks that are related to your industry. Like if you get a backlink from Joe's Garage in Omaha, it's not going to have a lot of what's called juice. If you get a link from a New York, I think you guys are in New York. I think that's what I remember. New York specific legal blog, and that is an authoritative website. That's going to hold a lot of juice, right? So local backlinks are big. So if you are involved in any trade organizations, can you get links that sponsor stuff, food collections, business relationships, do donations, scholarships, local blogs. Local blogs are good because these people that have like local blogs, they're always looking. It's an honor for them to get somebody to say, hey, can I advertise on your blog? And a lot of times they'll do it for like $10 a month or something. And they normally don't do it like it's advertisement code. They just put the link in there. So you'd want to reach out to those people, right? And so they're ads, but they're also backlinks. Then you could offer either money or offering them something in return. I don't know, legal help, but your law firm is way more corporate business. It's not like injury lawyer, a personal injury lawyer. And then search for city blogs, so New York blogs. That's how you could find New York blogs. So New York, advertise on our website, advertise on our site. So these are all things you could search in Google to find those potential places you could get backlinks from. Author-sponsored posts. So you get sponsored posts. So you could write guest posts on people's blog. That's becoming less and less important, but it's something you could definitely search for. I would right now go to Google Alerts and set up Google Alert for your company name, even probably your lawyer names. Why this is important, if Google detects that gets a new result for your company name or your lawyer's name, you're going to get an alert for it. Because you need to make sure whatever's going on out there, outside of your website, you're aware of it. And if it's negative, you need to go address it. And if it's positive, let's say they mention your company name and it's positive, but they don't link to it, that's when you'd go reach out and say, hey, we really appreciate, I should say firm, right? I guess firm's the right word. Appreciate you mentioning our firm. Would you be kind enough to add a backlink to actually link to our website from there? So it's constantly staying on top of stuff. Keyword directory. So New York directory. New York business directory. Let me go look at the exact location. Let me go to contact. Oh, I know it's New York, but I don't see how your menu disappears. That's a big problem. We'll talk about that. 202. I know that's a New York area code. Okay, well, you definitely want to put your ad. There it is. King Street? Huh, K Street. Interesting. Oh, DC. I thought 202 is New York. Okay, it doesn't matter. So you want to do like wherever it is, Washington, D.C. business directory. So you want to make, and then you could do like attorney directory. And you need to be in all those attorney directories. There's a bunch of niche specific attorney directories. And we'll get into that a little bit more as we go along too. Okay, 45 minutes in. I was hoping to get this in about an hour, and I think that's about where we're going to go. And there's about another hour and a half of viewing in those other videos I made. So if you want to go read those, which I highly suggest doing, so you can get a really good grasp understanding of what's going on. Okay, podcasts. There's all kinds of legal podcasts. And they're always, you can imagine they're running out, I had a friend that ran a podcast on the TV show Lost a while back. And they're always looking for content ideas because there's only so much stuff you can talk about. So you could reach out to these podcast owners. Let's say there's something unique you guys do or you had a unique case. I think right now the obvious thing would be the Rooney Rule thing. Say we'd love to, I'd love to be on your podcast to discuss this topic. And then you need to add in the email, this is why their listeners would like to hear about this, right? Obviously, it's like a marketing thing. And see if you can get on that podcast. And then you get that really good backlink from that podcast website. And that's really, really important. There's also a thing called Help a Reporter Out. You can help You go there, Haro. If you can help journalists write articles, and they'll say, according to Joe Blow at this law firm, this, and this, and this, and you can get that backlink from a very legitimate site. Maybe it's Bloomberg, maybe it's the Law and Crime blog, I think is what it's called. Maybe it's Legal Insurrection, I think is another one, right? And that's all backlink. That's all really good stuff. So Google Business Profile, formerly Google My Business, is something you have, but it's very important but you're not doing anything with it. I got to go back here again because my memory's horrible. Mary and Scarlett, Mehri, perhaps. This is where this comes from. See, this is not good. 3 out of 5 reviews from the web. But you need to get your reviews up in Google My Business here, or Google Business Profile as it's called. I don't think you really have much configured. You need to create all the services in Google Business Profile, and you need to associate them with the landing pages meaning the service areas on your website. There's a ton more on this. I haven't got a chance to do my total how-to video. However, I think this is an audit I did for a specific local SEO audit. See, it's an hour and 23 minutes. Let me make sure this is right.
What are the top ranking results for a big market? Because you generally in these big market cities.
So that's for a yoga studio. But the concepts are the same. And if you want me to do a local SEO specific audit for you, I definitely will. It's no problem. But again, I don't want to get too carried away and getting to so many things. But you really need to focus on Google My Business. You really need to get these reviews up. In that video, I discuss how to do it, the proper way to do it, how to give you it's all about statistical probabilities. A high statistical probability of actually getting a review. Some people send out automated review request emails and it's pointless. Nobody pays attention to them. You just basically need to be personal. But there's all kinds of stuff in Google My Business you need to configure. There's your business description, there's posts, there's images, all kinds of stuff. So watch that. What is this? I don't think this is me. This is that same guy
As
I
a
believe I showed
local
you
business
earlier.
owner, setting up a Google My Business listing should be a crucial part of your online marketing strategy.
So slow.
Why? Because A, it is the quickest route to be found in Google search results and Google Maps, which is
Google My Business listing setup 2021. This is a really good, I haven't watched it in a while, but it's a really good detailed 12-minute video on how to set up Google My Business. Now, I have some more niche things that I like to do as well, but this is going to kind of step you through the process. And again, if you need help with it, let me know. So you actually probably have 4 extra hours of videos to watch if you want to. Okay, I showed you the negative reviews on Facebook. I showed you on Yelp, but there's also some on Facebook. It's just not good. You can't have that. You want to be in these directories. These are legal specific directories. So legal service citation directory. Citation just means like a listing. So of course you don't want to be in 153. You want to be in the top legal directories. And then you need to stay on top of the rankings. 1, 2, 3 law. So the directory authority here is how authoritative the website is. I would sort like one that you don't want to waste time with that. It's like an unknown website. But find law, PView find, that's the same thing. That's kind of weird. Lawyers.com, Super Lawyers, Martindale, all these top ones that are probably this top page maybe. Let's see what the next page is. I'd probably get all the ones above, maybe these first 2 pages. You want to get in all these directories from like a backlinking point of view. And you want, anytime somebody searches for your business name, you want it to show up in all these different websites. And it helps from what's called a web footprint. The more you're mentioned in positive lights, and it's legitimizing to Google that you are a legitimate business, right? And so you want to improve your web footprint as well by getting in all these directories. Now, so not only are there niche legal directories, there's all these more general business directories. So these and then when you get in these business directories, you want to make sure everything is the exact same: phone number, business name, address, web page, etc., etc. And I go over that in my video above. So you can see here, are you in Facebook? You are. Apple Maps. I don't think you're on Apple Maps. Most people don't think about Apple Maps. LinkedIn, you're in LinkedIn. Google, you are, but you don't do anything with it. Booking doesn't make sense. Yelp, but you got that negative review. TripAdvisor doesn't matter. Bing Places. This is like Google Business Profile for Bing. Most people aren't in it because they don't think about it. Well, that's important. If somebody in Windows goes here and types lawyer near me or whatever, that's going to go to Bing. Also, Alexa uses Bing, not Google search. And that's getting more and more traffic. So this is another place to go. And again, you don't want to be in all these. I would pick maybe the top 10 to 15 and go in those. See how much more we got. We're on page 7. Okay, good. We're going to finish in under an hour, I think. So other observations. So these are just more things that I found. If you go to your attorney and staff here, these profiles are really, really good. Like reading, I mean, you have some very, very, this is obviously a very legitimate, like this isn't like you get hit by a truck lawyers. This is big time, legal stuff, right? So I was very impressed. But if you go down here, some of these don't have anything. So this is just not an SEO thing, but it's just a professional thing. I would go ahead and finish these. Let me click on something real quick. Okay, they don't really need long blurbs for people that are like on staff and not the actual lawyers, but that's really good. Yeah, so I mean, this is a lot of very impressive. I think Clement is the one that was involved in the Rooney Rule, I think, and this stuff in Alabama. Not this stuff, the civil rights things in Alabama that was going on a long time ago. That's all really amazing. So you can see there's just against Goodyear. I mean, everybody knows Goodyear. These are like ridiculously famous companies and cases that I would emphasize a lot more on my homepage. I mean, testimonials are good, but I would emphasize all of these well-known things, like the Rooney Rule. I mean, everybody knows the Rooney Rule. That's into sports. This Goodyear case. And I can't remember now. I went through, spent 20 minutes looking through the profiles. And there's all these very well-known companies and cases that a lot of people are familiar with. I would emphasize all that on the homepage. Like, that needs to stick out, because what's happening here is, okay, somebody searches and gets to your page. Let me find, this menu is really messed up. They're looking for insurance severance agreement law. Or I guess just writing severance agreements or whatever, severance agreements. They see it and they're like, okay, cool. And they got this picture of like these nice people here, like a little blurb, that's good. And these little sections, that's good. And not making light of it, it's all good. But every lawyer site looks the same. Practice area. Here's a practice area. But why are you different? Now, what makes you different that I know of? And that's why I asked in this question. And the answer wasn't for this one. And what makes you valuable? One of the country's leading class action and complex litigation firms. I like that, but I guess anybody could say that. So I would want to explain that very explicitly and very much in detail, maybe in this blurb here. But like, why are you that? Like, what makes you different? So many businesses, and this goes for anything from restaurants that I've worked with, from small-time lawyers to plumbers to dentists to doctors to banks, anything you possibly think of. People focus on the how and the what, when you should be focusing a lot more on the why. So why us? I would say 95% of the websites I work with and they listen to me should have a why us section here. But you should also condense the why us information up here near the top. Because most people, if you go to Inspectlet and watch people use your website, this is what it's going to look like when you watch the screen. They're going to go like this. Then they're going to go scroll, and just really ignore all that stuff. Anything you want to get across, you need to do it right here. So this is called above the fold. Anything above the top of the screen before they scroll down. That's good. There's a lot of white space here you could be using. Whoops. Didn't mean to click that. A lot of white space over here, but I would at least put it like right here. So there's a lot of keywording opportunities you're missing out on, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit below. Yeah, so that's really important. The why part is important. So this is a big problem here. I don't know if now Spider's getting really good. It can detect like layout issues and stuff. If you're missing a top bar, first of all, when I haven't noticed this before, this big white space here, you certainly don't want that. But if you go to it, at least for me, and this is something you would have noticed if you were doing user Bob sessions, you would say, okay, go to my website, talk about it for a minute, give it overall you look and feel. So what you would see is somebody navigating your web page and saying something like this. Okay, private law firm looks very professional. I like the color scheme. I would like social justice. I think social justice is more important, so I would move it over to the left. Whatever. It doesn't really matter, right? I'm just giving you an idea. But also what you would have realized is when they scroll down, a lot of them would have seen this bar not appear when they first got there. And they would have commented on it. And if you're not doing those monthly sessions, you're not going to know stuff like this. Because I went here and I was like, well, where are the practice areas at? And I went here and I went down here and I didn't see it. Then I noticed this bar popped up, right? So it needs to pop up, obviously, as soon as somebody loads the web page. That's very important. Doesn't seem like it's SEO, but it's SEO because people are going to leave your web page. And if people abandon your web page, so if if you have Google Analytics installed, Google's going to know that they're not spending a lot of time on your website. But also, if somebody's using Chrome, it makes sense. It's a Google product. It's going to know when they click the back button, and it makes sense that would be reported back to Google. So this is what I talked about. So mention the big time stuff on your homepage. So on the homepage, what you need to focus on is what makes you unique, and I would focus on the big cases that people know. Big companies. This may be something McDonald's or something. The stuff that's really, really impressive. Like I would ask each one of the lawyers, if you're going to dinner with somebody, like somebody you wanted to date or whatever, like, and you basically, if with anybody you wanted to impress, what would be the one thing you would tell them about? That's what I would focus on. That's what I would put on your homepage. I would also email them and say, okay, what the questions that I ask you, give me 3 sentences of why people should do business with us. Give me, what do you think people would miss about us if we weren't around? That's the kind of stuff you really need to focus on in an entire Why Us section and also on the homepage as well. You don't have any headings. Google likes headings, so these H1 and H2s, like what we stand for could be an H1, but you want to put heading, you want to put like your keywords in the H1s and H2s, right? So it's the bold-faced text before a section. Google likes that stuff. So consumer protection, employment discrimination, these probably should be H1s. That's what I would do. Because what it is, if it's an H1 and it's specifically designated an H1, that tells Google, okay, this is a very important topic because I'm designating it as a header, right? And normally what people do is they have consumer protection as an H1 like this. This would be the H1 consumer protection. And they have a little blurb like this about the H1. And this is good. I didn't notice this before. Why clients should choose MS. Let me read this before. We commit to a client-centric approach, which means caring for the, in my mind, I'm reading like blah, 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 to be honest with you. Because if every other law firm can say the same thing as you can, then you're not really adding any value to what you're saying. Hopefully that makes sense. Because what law firm couldn't really say this? Client-centered approach, which means caring for the client's needs, listening to their ideas, encouraging and pushing their cases. Yeah, see, I mean, it's just very vague and generic. This may not, hopefully, that makes sense to you. It's very, very important. It's something I would do pretty quickly. Bonuses to give away something. So you're not like, like an injury lawyer, but what I've had a lot of success with, like more personal lawyers, whether it's disability or actually not disability, but most lawyers I work with are injury lawyers, right? Kind of makes sense. Is give away something. If you have a meeting, what's the word? A consultation with us, we'll give you a free tablet just by talking to us. You can get $50 tablets on Amazon, like Amazon Kindles, and then on the tablet you can load a lot of your business information. What happens while you want to do that, and of course if you do it and it's not helping, you just stop doing it and take it off your webpage. And it may not be right for a tablet to somebody that's looked like injured. That's kind of cool. Like a average person like me, who is not involved in all this corporate stuff, that just, maybe got hit by a truck or something. If I'm looking at lawyers and one of them says, if you consult, we'll give you a tablet just for talking to us. I'd be like, and all the websites pretty much say the same generic stuff. I'm going to go to them, right? So if there's something you could offer. See, that might be too consumerish since your focus is B2B, not B2C. Might be a little weird. I don't know. I've never thought about it, but it's something to consider. And you just do it. You put it on your website, advertise it, and if it doesn't work and it's costing you money, then you stop, right? Whether it's a tablet, whether it's a gift card, whether it's anything, just be unique. People love that stuff. You don't have live chat, so you want that live chat to pop up down here. A lot of your competitors did that I saw. It's just another vehicle for people to contact you. There's free solutions. I can help you with it. There's one that's called I can't remember right now. Send me a message and I will. I'm trying to think of it right now. I can't think of it. Tidio, Tidio. And you don't have to have somebody sitting at the desk the entire time, right? If it's not there, it'll say nobody's here. Leave us a message, and then it'll email you. So even if nobody's ever going to be there, you can just have it there to give the impression that you're going to live chat, because they may not have reached out to you if you didn't have that chat loading. And when they reach out to you and nobody answers, it's going to say, no, sorry, we're not here. Leave us a message. We'll get back to you. And now they're going to leave a message because they've gotten that far down the road. So that's something you definitely want to do too. Because a lot of people have social anxiety. A lot of people, especially with lawyers, I don't want a sales pitch from a lawyer. Lawyers generally, at least in my mind, it can be a lot of pressure. It can be pretty intimidating going to a lawyer. Whether you guys believe that or not, I think that's what a lot of people think, right? So give people an easy way to contact you without having to call and get. Most people just don't want to get on the phone, like for anything, right? We're all kind of caught up in our own worlds. That's something I would definitely offer. Let me make sure here. Yeah, it's linked. Okay. Moving along. If you decide to do Google Ads, in Ahrefs, you can actually see the ads your competitors are running. So if they have one ad and it's working, structure your ads around that. A lot of people do Google Ads and they don't know what they're doing and they waste a lot of money. You want to make sure you're using something called negative keywords. You want to do location targeting. You want to make sure you're using the ads extensions. And I'm giving you some extra content here. How to use Google Ads and ads. These aren't things that I wrote. These are things that I picked up. And negative keywords basically mean if I'm going to run an ad, and if somebody searches for best copyright lawyer near me, assuming you did copyright law, you'd want to show up for that as an ad possibly. But if they just search for copyright lawyer, you don't want to show up because maybe they're researching how to become a copyright lawyer, right? So negative keywords would say, do not show up. I don't want to pay for an ad if somebody just searches for copyright lawyer. Just a lot of money. A lot of people throw money down the hole because they don't know what they're doing. So the bottom line is if you're going to be doing ads, just make sure you know what you're doing. Okay, this isn't an SEO thing again, but this is one of the most effective things I've worked with people on. That companies I have worked with is annual surveys, and just send it. You have all these personal relationships with these people because you'll probably get to know like the names of their dogs and their wives or whatever. So that's why reviews should be really easy for you guys. But also send them. You could even do this after each case because you form a good relationship with these people. A lot of companies send like these 20-page surveys, and it's terrible. Nobody wants to sit there for 5 minutes and fill out a survey, or 20 minutes. Just say, what do we do good? What would you change? And what's the overall rating of our law firm? That's just how this kind of helps from it. It's more of a marketing thing, but all of this information you can put back onto your website, which is going to help. And also just from a business point of view, it's going to help you from a business point of view. But if you're not getting that feedback through InspectLit for User Bob by asking your actual clients, what's good, what's bad, what could we improve on, or overall rating, then you don't even know, and maybe you're doing this, I don't know, but you don't know what to even change on your website to attract more clients, right? If you might find out over and over again that they like this isn't what they're saying, but I'm just getting through the video here. They like the intense manner that you guys, the don't give up attitude when talking to judges or something. I mean, that probably doesn't even make any sense. If so, that's something you include on your website at the very front, like known to have a never give up when talking to judges or whatever. Of course, that doesn't really make much sense, but I just wanted to think of something to give you an example. Put contact info on menu. It's there. I don't know why I wrote that. Okay, this is to domain thing, which I told you about, so that's something you want to figure out. Okay, I went over this. Emphasize what makes you different and why are you better. Why should somebody do business with you? It's very, very important, man. It's very, very important. It might sound minor to you, but it's extremely important. If you read anything about marketing, for example, if you're watching a commercial on toothpaste, it doesn't really say, we use fluoride and we, process it in a very clean, manufacturing facility. What it says is it's gonna make you, you're gonna smile with real white teeth and you're gonna be able to get a really good looking girlfriend or something like that. So it's not a consumer product, but it's the same, it's a psychology thing, right? So it's something I definitely would work on immediately. Case studies and testimonials, you have the testimonials. I love this tick, and this is something I would definitely throw on the homepage and emphasize it. Now this may not be appropriate for you guys because this is like DWI. I think this is a DWI. Okay, no, it's not criminal defense. I love these tickers are very powerful. Dismissed. They actually haven't updated in a long time, so maybe. But this just looks really cool. Dismiss, dismiss, dismiss. So I don't know if this would be appropriate for the type of work that you guys do, but it's something I would consider. Yeah, I don't know why they stopped doing it. But I like it. I just think it just goes like, I guess this could be considered social proof that you guys are like really good. Like if you have 30 cases in a row where you win, to me that makes a lot of sense. But this type of thing may not be appropriate for, B2B type law stuff. I don't know. Are you featured on anything? So, and I'm sure your lawyers are, because it's probably the most impressive lawyers credential-wise I've ever seen in my entire life. I would put this somewhere down here as featured in Bloomberg Magazine or Wall Street Journal. And then there you want to link to those articles. It's a good external linking opportunity, but it's really adding that social proof, that legitimacy to people that are looking at your website. To me, looking at the best thing that you guys do, I mean, everybody has practice areas that kind of do the same thing. All of your competitors kind of do the same thing. But what you guys do, and I really didn't spend too much time looking at your competitors' lawyers, but what I think is you have these lawyers that are like heavy hitters, that are like involved in like really like deep stuff. You're not getting people out of DWIs. You're involved in, like I said, the Rooney Rule, the civil rights stuff in the 60s in Alabama. That's the stuff I would focus on, man. I really, really would. I think it's very, very important. And use Google Analytics. There's a plugin called Analytify that I love, that it gives you all the Google Analytics stats within WordPress. There's a ton of dashboards you can use. Make sure you use Google Search Console. That's the dashboard for the Google search. So you can see what's ranking, what keywords are working, what search results are working, et cetera, et cetera. So that's something you want to do. You could check it weekly, and then this is also where you're gonna, if you have manual actions, like if it detects a security problem or it detects a font's too small, right? You're gonna get alerts on this stuff, and you need to be aware of it. Don't forget about Bing and other search engines. Baidu in China is huge, and these are the two main internationals. Baidu, I think it's pronounced, in Russia. Yandex in Russia. So you might think, why do I need to be an international search engine? With your type of work, people in those foreign countries might be looking for your service. It's very possible, the kind of complex stuff you guys are into, but it's mainly because you're going to start to see people from different countries coming to your blog content, because they'll search for something and they're going to come across your blog, your content on your website. And that's just one more visitor. Right? The more visitors you get, the more visitors you're going to get, which is going to lead to more visitors, which is going to lead to more visitors. And this is to get in these search engines, it's a 10-minute setup process. And it's a one-time thing. You don't got to sit there and babysit it. I would subscribe to the SEO Roundtable newsletter. It's a daily newsletter I get, and it summarizes the news from all over the web, which is beautiful. SEO news. I used to subscribe to like 5 or 6 different newsletters, and it's very hard to stay on top of. They summarize news from all the different newsletters for you. Follow these people on Twitter if you really want to stay on. John Moo is like the main Google search advocate at Google, and just follow these people on Twitter. So you want to stay on top of what's going on from the horse's mouth. And then let me show you, and I'm going to give this to you, this spreadsheet. There's all kinds of, this is my local SEO monthly plan I'm giving you, by the way. And I go over this in that local SEO audit that I did. This is exactly what I do. I have a 6-month plan that I put together, and this is how I get people set up and going from the ground up, right? So if you need help with this, let me know. If not, this is the plan. You can go do it yourself. There's nothing fancy about it. And it says month 5 and 6. Generally, this stuff doesn't get finished in 4 months. It's stuff that you have to carry over. So that's there for you if you want to use it. Also, there's all kinds of fancy tracking tools, but they're all honestly useless if you go look at them. I have this spreadsheet, and you just want to track month to month how good you're doing, how many Google Analytics users are. From Google Analytics, how many users are visiting your website? What's the bounce rate? How many pages per session, right? You just want to track these month to month and make sure things are trending in the right direction. How many clicks from Bing? How many backlinks does Google Search Console think you have? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you don't have to track all this stuff if you want to. Most people don't track all this stuff. They may take some of this stuff out. This is Google My Business stuff. So this is what you track month to month. If you're doing stuff and it's not improving anything, then what you're doing is a waste of time. You want to just focus on things that are working. So I hope this helps. My email address, you can always contact me in Fiverr, but who knows, like down the road if I'll be there or not. I don't plan on leaving, but who knows. My email address is here. If you need help, I would highly recommend the security audit for sure, especially a company like a firm that's as serious as yours, definitely. Performance, only thing I would really recommend on performance is getting rid of that video. There's probably not much else I can do. I think you'll get that Core Web Vital score down to green, at least yellow, once you remove that video, or at least optimize it, which I could help you with. And if you need help with that local SEO plan, let me know. We could work out something. But I think that's pretty much it. Here's my email address. If you need anything, let me know. And I hope this helped you guys. You're doing a lot good. Like, I didn't have to go over any of the keyword optimization for the landing pages and stuff like that, even though there's stuff to work on, and that's all gone over in that Qualify and Conquer video. So I would highly recommend watching these videos. It's going to take a while, obviously, but going through all those to get a really good understanding of everything that's going on and how all these things connect together. So please leave a review. That would really appreciate that. That really helps me out. maybe mention something that you found useful. That would be really useful to me. But if you don't have time for that and you just want to leave a review in like two words, I can understand that. If you're going to leave a negative review, and you're certainly entitled to do that, I would just ask before you do that, let me know if there's something you expected me to address that I didn't, and I'd be happy to cover that. Now, if you have any questions for me, a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, even if we don't, if I don't help you with anything else, you can feel free to ask anytime. So I'm always I have people all the time that I worked with years ago that I don't work with anymore, and they'll send me a question. They go, hey, what do you think about this? And, I'll help them out. So I don't mind doing that either. So let me know. I hope this helped. That review is greatly appreciated. And let me know if you need help with any of the other stuff that I mentioned, and talk to you soon.